Hi boys and girls, welcome back to another video. 670 Mike Alpha is getting fueled up. We are going to go up and find out when the impossible turn becomes impossible. Different conditions can change the outcome to this particular manoeuvre. It's an engine failure after takeoff manoeuvre. You're on climb out from the runway and all of a sudden your engine fails and you make the decision to turn back towards the opposite runway that you just took off from. We're going to go out today and try to see how low we can start the turn and it still be possible. If you like today's video, please decimate the like button. It helps get my videos in front of more people. Also, subscribe to LewDix Aviation if you haven't subscribed already. Appreciate you being here. We're going to go up and have fun doing this. I'd come up and practice the impossible turn quite often to maintain proficiency because we don't get to pick and choose when we have an engine failure. We were supposed to be flying with somebody today, but they are not here. We may be going alone. Possible turn, I believe that different conditions dictate whether you'll be able to make it back to the runway. Wind is a big factor in this, and the altitude at which you start the turn back to the runway should be taken into consideration. In this video, we'll see just how much altitude we lose in the turn, and ultimately get an idea of what altitude it is unwise to do this, on this particular day of course. I'm taking off from runway 7 at Orlando Executive today, and I'm going over to Orlando North Air Park, which is a private airstrip that you've seen many a time on this channel. For this to go as planned, I needed to make sure that I was vigilant in making my radio calls and being aware of any other traffic in the area. A return to the airstrip while someone's taking off or landing on the opposite runway could be catastrophic. However, nobody used it for the whole time that I was there today. This lack of traffic is why I choose to do these types of maneuvers at this air park.
Alright boys and girls, welcome to the sky. I was supposed to have a special guest with me today, but doesn't look like they turned up, so anyway, but yeah, the impossible turn, difficult in heavier aircraft and aircraft that aren't considered boats, but we are in a Cessna 172 today, so the float ratio should be pretty decent for us to turn back to towards the runway.
Did I hear you mention a float?
Who?
If you be floating, then you better be needing a proper captain.
What the fuck? Oh my god!
I'm back!
You'll never believe the stowaway that I found on board our skyboat today. You've seen him on the channel before until he set sail on his own adventure on the open seas. He was swashbuckling and grog guzzling. Well, obviously not today, but let's keep the magic of the joke going. His sword was poking me in the back of the head, so I needed to get him on the ground as quickly as possible, get him off the boat and into the front seat.
Captain, get in the front please, sir.
Let me know in the comments if you guessed who it is before I let you know that it's the one, the only...
Seth's back, boys and girls! Where have you been?
Been becoming a sea pirate captain. Flying the Cessnas.
Ah, that's right. We stopped flying and you went over to another flight school and you were just flying the skyboat. So, makes sense. Well, it's good to see you.
Oh, it's good to be seeing you too, matey.
It's interesting that flying the Cessna changes the way you speak as well, because last time I knew you were normal.
I can't help this. This is honestly just an eternal person. Please help me. I can't stop.
I can't stop.
It's a curse.
I can't stop. Help me. Oh, God.
No, but seriously.
Yeah.
I broke the curse!
Oh my god, yeah, we had to do a full stop and get him in the front. We can see how he flies the Cessna. He's back. It's been a long time. Tell the people the news.
I passed my check ride!
Woo! Yes! Passed his check ride. He's now a private pilot. Or a private pirate. Anyway, so yeah, he passed his check ride. He's out here, wants to start flying the 172s. It's funny, literally this aircraft that we're flying now, or about to go and fly now, is the first aircraft that he ever flew with me on. There's a video of it on the channel. He was very nervous that day. Going to be interesting to see now him come full circle and fly this thing and see how he does today. Welcome back.
Thanks, good to be back.
Yeah, man. Why don't we go up and do one lap just to kind of, yeah, we'll do that. He flew all the way here in the back seat just for that joke. Give me a short field takeoff.
Short field takeoff.
Alrighty, and it'll be right traffic and we'll come back and do a normal landing. Warm you up before we do the impossible.
Okay, alright, so brakes, max power. Speed's alive and 50, rotate.
Welcome to the sky. Climbing out the X, glorious. Mr. Private Pirate can still do his short field takeoff.
I did like 15 of them the other day.
15 on the check ride, that's not
It's been 6 months since I've flown with Seth, and even then it was when he was pre-soloing a Piper Warrior. I know we want to get to the impossible turns, but before I put him to the test on that, I want to see how he lands a Cessna 172. This will warm him up for all the engine failures that are about to happen.
Yes. Very nice, man.
Full stop.
Yep, full stop. My controls.
Your controls?
My controls. We're at a short runway here, boys and girls. Well, shortish, 2,500 feet. So we're not going to play any risky games today. We're going to do our procedures. We're going to do these impossible turns, but we're going to do everything safely. So nice landing though.
Along North traffic, Sky 670 Mike Alpha back taxi runway 09 along North.
Very, very nice. Your other instructor obviously taught you very well. Good for you. Anyway, so impossible turn. Let's talk about that. So your best glide speed is what?
6.5.
6.5. That's what we're going to aim for when the engine fails. This first one, we're going to go up to 1,000 feet and see if we can make it back at 1,000 feet. Now, wind plays a big factor in all of this. So today we've not really got much of a headwind or much of a tailwind. Usually, if you're climbing out on the departure leg and you've got a headwind, is that keeping you close or taking you further away from the runway?
It's keeping you closer.
Keeping you closer, right? So with a headwind, obviously we're taking off into the wind. It's going to keep you closer than it would if you had a tailwind. Why you'd be taking off with a tailwind, I have no idea. Stop taking off in tailwinds. So that's a factor. When you turn from the departure leg to now going back to the opposite runway, you've got a tailwind. So the first wind is keeping you close to the runway on the departure, and then you turn around and then now it's a tailwind pushing you towards the runway. At 1,000 feet, in all honesty, in my opinion, it's not going to be a problem.
Along North traffic, Sky 670 Mike Alpha, going to be taking off runway 09er, going up to 1,000 feet on the departure leg and returning for a simulated engine out procedure to runway 27 on the north.
Let's do this.
50, rotate. Welcome to the sky.
Welcome to the sky. Just climb it out up to 1,000 feet. And I just want to reiterate, if we're looking short, if we're looking long, punching the power, then we'll go around. Some point. Best glide speed is what?
6.5.
6.5, roger. So 65 is your best glide. The engine's gone.
Alright.
So you've immediately made the decision to turn back. You're trimming back, beautiful. You're turning it back.
Along North traffic, Sky 670 Mike Alpha, we're turning back towards runway 27, simulated engine out procedure at Alana North.
During the turn, we've descended 200 feet. At this altitude, it doesn't make too much difference. It'll be interesting to see how that changes as we try this at lower altitudes.
How are you feeling as far as being high or low?
I mean, feel high right now.
Feel high, right?
Yeah. Still need to get my speed cut off.
Beautiful. You've realised that you're high. Throwing in some flappage. Still 500 feet, still high, slipping it in. Beautiful slip, by the way. Very nice slip. It's as if you're a private pirate or something. Beautiful. My hero, with a beautiful landing to boot. How did you feel? Did you feel like you had a little bit of a tailwind there?
Yeah, and it was hard to get that speed down.
There you go, 1,000 feet, boom, easy. Let's do it at 700 because that's when you'd be turning crosswind. Let's give that one a go. That was really nice, impossible turn, man. That was very, very nice.
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
Yeah. 50. Rotate. Welcome to the sky.
Welcome.
Climb out 60 knots. It's possible at 1,000 feet. In these conditions, that's important to remember, because, you know, conditions can change.
You have a big crosswind and you try turning into that for the turn, and like that's going to affect it too.
Yep, absolutely. Coming up to 700 feet, where we'd usually have the engine, failure, Jesus. usually have the crosswind.
What kind of plane are we flying?
Yeah, I know, the bed. All right, 700 feet, here we go, power's going. What's wrong with this thing today?
All right, so engine went out.
On and off, Sky 600 Mike Alpha, early departure leg runway 09, we're turning back, simulated engine failure to runway 27. On and off.
Now, of course, we're a little bit closer than we were on the 1,000-foot one, but you can already see you're lower, and it's a little bit more kind of like you got to think about it a little bit more.
Yep.
On this one, it's important to note that by the time we've turned back around, we're already down to 500 feet.
There you go, really get it down to that glide.
So here, Seth saw that he had some altitude to lose and put the aircraft into a side slip. I take a glance at the flap lever and see that it's only at 10 degrees, when the maximum for this aircraft is 30 degrees, and with more flaps to use and more drag to gain, this defeats the point of this particular slip. But it's Seth's reasoning after the landing that interests me the most.
Float forever.
Beautiful. Flaps up, Mac controls. Gear controls, Mac controls. Why did we float so much though?
I had a lot of energy coming in.
A lot of energy, only 10 degrees of flaps.
Yep. Yep, you're right. I got distracted.
Let's do that one again.
All right.
Your controls?
My controls.
Your controls. Nice landing and everything.
Yeah, well, you're not supposed to slip with flaps if possible. So that's why I only put the 10.
He's right to speak about the note in the Cessna 172 POH, and of course, other POHs for other models and other aircraft may be different, but I think that the note for this particular model is a little bit misleading.
And if you are going to slip, do it with full flaps. Otherwise, there's no point to the slip. You've still got flaps to use, still got drag to gain, you know.
Okay.
Which is going to help you.
It says that steep slips should be avoided with more than 20 degrees of flaps due to a slight tendency for the elevator to oscillate. It goes on to mention that that's under certain combinations of airspeed, side slip angle and centre of gravity loadings, which is quite vague. Many take the note to mean that the slips are prohibited, when in reality that isn't true. There's nothing explicitly prohibiting the slip manoeuvre, and in my opinion, they're completely safe to do. The reason I bring all of this up is that in an emergency, an inexperienced pilot may think twice about using full flaps to slip, just like Seth did here. They run the risk of catastrophic consequences during the landing, when in reality they could reduce the risk by perfectly safely using all their available resources in the flaps and the slip. Of course, that's just my opinion, and I'd love to hear your take on that in the comments below this video. See you down there.
But how did you feel with it cutting at 700 feet? Did you just feel comfortable still, or?
Yeah, I mean, still felt like I had plenty of altitude.
Yeah.
On and off traffic, Sky 670 Mike Alpha, on the departure leg, runway 09, I'll land on north. We're going to be making the turn back for a simulated engine out procedure to runway 27, I'll land on north.
You want to add a delay factor at all?
Yeah, give yourself a couple of seconds delay.
Right.
So boom, the engine's going, you're trying to figure out...
turn it back, matey!
Decided to turn it
Keep
back.
it coordinated.
Yes, sir. 65.
Yet again, my attention is drawn to the altitude. Even with Seth pitching up and trimming back to bleed off airspeed, we keep descending at 500 feet per minute. By the time we're back established towards the runway, we're again at 500 feet. It's interesting that this is a pretty consistent altitude loss throughout each of the maneuvers.
Really got to pull back to get the bleed off.
Yeah, you
Doesn't want to.
You do. Yeah, even I can feel while I'm not flying it, you've got a tailwind kind of pushing you a little bit. So just take that slip out. See what it does. Put full flaps in there.
Full flaps are in.
Full flaps, you're still at 65. Oh, it's kind of starting to slow up a little bit.
Look, we all make mistakes, don't we? I certainly do, all the time. But just make sure you're buckled in for this one.
Yes.
Oh man, that was weird.
You didn't need the slip.
Okay.
You didn't need the slip. That's what brought us too low. And the first one kind of bounced.
Yep.
So it's a bounce landing. So you did the right thing to save it.
Yeah.
You just needed, as you came over the runway, just a little bit more back pressure, just to hold it off, because you still had a little bit of energy. Let's do that one again.
Bounce landings, it's part of being a pilot. We've all done it, but there are two options at that point. Save it or go around. Debates could be hard as to which one you should choose, but I want to point out Seth's excellent recognition of the situation. He made a quick decision that he was going to save it, and he did so very nicely.
Oh, welcome to the sky.
Welcome back.
Boom, 500 feet, it's gone. Now this is really imperative that we don't fuck it up and get ourselves too low, too slow.
On off traffic, Sky 600 Mike Alpha, turning back runway 27 on and off, simulated engine out procedure.
The 200-foot altitude loss consistent again.
I like it, you've held off on the flaps, just trying to get it back to best glide speed. So now at 500 feet you're already down to 300 now. And look at that, you've held off until the last moment to put the flaps in. And that's what's made this successful, in my opinion. You've not got yourself too low, too slow. Beautiful.
That was good.
That was glorious. My controls?
Your controls.
So I sprung that one on you. I wanted to spring it on you just to see the reaction time and to see if you could do it. You banked it over, you held off on the flaps until the very last moment that you knew you'd make it, and then you put them in and it was a beautiful smooth landing. I'll tell you what, man, we're not going to do any lower than that just out of safety.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed with that, man.
I think given the consistent 200-foot loss of altitude on each of the turnbacks today, it's safe to say that at a lower altitude than 500 feet, we'd be struggling to make it back. I truly believe that the impossible turn would actually be impossible in that scenario. I know YouTube Aviation has taken an unfortunate turn toward clickbait titles and dangerous stunts to get views, but you won't be finding that here. We're going to take off, we're going to go home safely.
Above obstacles, flaps up. Again, taking into consideration, today is quite a light wind day, but you did feel when you made that turn that you do have a little bit of a tailwind pushing you towards it. Yeah. If we had time, do it on the opposite runway to spin it back around so you can see the difference with a headwind. Yep. Completely different. Fact of the matter is, in these conditions, on this particular day, you've been able to do it down to 500 feet. That's pretty impressive, man, for a brand new private pilot.
I'm happy.
But I wouldn't be trying that below 500 feet. No. You were already out of the turn at 300 feet. You know, so you lost 200 feet in the turn. Yep. Imagine doing that, let's say you lost it at, 300 feet. You're already near the ground by the time you're coming out of the turn. Yeah. So I think by logic, below 500 feet is probably safe to say it becomes impossible. Yep. How do you feel?
I feel great. Yeah. The whole process took way longer than I would have anticipated. Yeah. Part of it was just because waiting on medical, and then it just took me longer to solo. Yeah. It just took me longer than I wanted to. Yeah. But I finally did. I don't know. I also worked on it part-time. I didn't do it full-time.
You weren't doing it every single day. When we first started, and you weren't pressuring, I've got to put that out there straight away, but you said you would like to try and solo by hour like 15 or so. Yeah. Yep. I kind of said, all right, we'll kind of see. Obviously, it's dependent on your performance and whatever. But from you being a 0 hour, wannabe pilot, not knowing anything going in, to now knowing what you know, I'm sure you feel like that was a little bit naive.
Oh, by the time I got to 10 hours, I was like, that's not going to happen. Yeah. Even if I had my medical straight away and we weren't waiting on that, like, by the time I got to like 7 to 10 hours, I was like, oh, I was pretty fucking ambitious. Yeah. Some people do solo in 10. Some people solo in 50. It doesn't matter in the end if you get it in the end.
Not at all.
Everybody learns at different paces.
Exactly. So it took me to get to my private, because I took breaks and stuff, and like the original flight school I had over. It took me just under 100 hours to get my private. It's not hindered me, it's not stopped me from doing anything I want to do in aviation, it's not changed anything. The only thing it's done is given me more hours to build my, you know, to get to my flight times and stuff. There's no problem with it whatsoever. Do it at your own time, your own pace, and all these people that are out there that are like, oh, I soloed at 3 hours. Like, whatever. Good for you. And that's what I believe. I don't. I gotta be careful. Like, I've seen a change in the people in aviation. Now, it's very competitive. Everyone's trying to be better than the next person. It's not really about that. It's about keeping everybody safe.
And on that bombshell.
0 Mike Alpha, runway 7, clear to land.
Clear to land, runway 70 Mike Alpha.
And then there's me and you acting like pirates. See, that's the genuine aviation content you need. Alright. Hours by. Let's see how far we can extend this glide.
To finish off the day, I'm doing a power-off approach from a base at 1,000 feet down to the runway to see how headwinds would affect us.
I'm already turning towards the runway, but you can already see, like, we were going way faster over the ground with the tailwind than we are now with the headwind. Like, it's really slowed us down.
Yeah.
I mean, stable as anything, but it's like, are we gonna make it? Let's see. What are we doing? It's still high on the pappies.
Well, I mean, you also have no flaps.
No flaps,
Once
yeah.
you put flaps in, you can put the nose down.
Exactly. I'm just waiting till the last moment.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see how slow we are.
Yep.
Like, we're a little bit high, so let's slip it.
I think we have enough runway.
I think we do.
So. We'll see. Always go around.
Thank you, private pilot instructor. Oh, there we go. Cool. Nothing compared to what you just did several times, but. There we go.
Executive ground sky 670 Mike Alpha, Alpha 6, we're going to Atlantic.
Would that happen to be LewDix in there?
Oh, it's Murph!
Man, it's been a long minute. Where you been?
I've been flying around for the airline, man, but I got some time to do a little bit of GA stuff. Go back to the real world.
Man, you gotta give me a call, man. Let's do something. But you can start your task. You going to Romeo 4 to the grass there?
I'm actually going directly in front of the Atlantic building.
Okay, Roger. Let's go Bravo and Bravo 1 to park and LewDix.